Guys, I think without the microphones, we're good to go. You ready?
Yep.
All right, guys, for the two people in here now, I'm sure we'll start getting some more filing in. This is going to be the way we do our shows from now on, live stream. If you don't catch the live stream, these videos will be uploaded on YouTube as soon as we're done. If you don't catch it live, if you come in the middle and you want to see what we talked about in the front, the videos will upload under probably the live playlist or the podcast if we can move them. So bear with us, guys. It's our first live show. We're working on some kinks. Yesterday, we were broken men.
We had a rough day yesterday.
I thought about driving the wrong way on the highway and just ending it all. I just wasn't in a good mental place yesterday. But we're back today. Hopefully,
bounce back right now.
Yeah, we're gonna bounce something. I don't know. Maybe my head off a wall. But while you're here, all 4 or 5 of you, if you could go to our YouTube page and subscribe. It's embarrassing that there's people in Utah who have more wives than we have subscribers.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's sad. We got to beat the Mormons. Can't let them win.
Yeah.
They win enough.
It would help us tremendously.
Yeah. The more subscribers we have, the better giveaways we can do. And we're going to talk giveaways at the end of the show.
Oh.
So now that we got that covered, go ahead and subscribe to us. Leave us some comments. Let's talk some old news with the Lions. DJ Chark leaving and going to Carolina. What do you think about that?
Bye.
Yeah. You don't miss him at all? You don't think it's going to be a loss for the Lions?
It's not that I don't miss him at all, but I also don't think that he was like a premier intricate piece that we couldn't do without. We did great when he was banged up throughout the season. So
yeah, I like DJ Chark. I think it's a loss. I mean, he's a solid big receiver who can go down the field. And we're bringing back Marvin Jones. I think I'm in the minority of people who aren't very high on Marvin Jones coming back. It's like one of those things I could really just care less about. I know I'm in the minority. What do you think? Go ahead.
I'm complete opposite. I think Marvin Jones is a guy who's known that can make big plays. He's great at catching that 50-50 ball. He's older, and he's never been a guy that's going to get a whole lot of separation from defensive backs, but he has to play the position where he runs up the sideline, he opens up the middle of the field, and I think he's a great guy to do it. He has a history here. He'll be a great locker room guy. I think he's just a good fit on a 1-year deal. I'm glad that we didn't sign him to an extended deal. That wouldn't have made sense. But 1 year, teach these guys some of the things that he knows, the younger guys, and
we still got to add someone in the draft.
I think we'll probably end up adding someone, but we'll get into it. But I think bottom line, we put ourselves in a position to where we can do whatever we want.
Yeah, I'm just not high on Marvin Jones. I know I'm one of few people who aren't. I just didn't see the production in him last year. Him playing as many games as he did and on a playoff team with a good young quarterback didn't really put up numbers. I don't know. Maybe our offense will be a little bit better for him. I hope I'm wrong, but I just wasn't very excited to hear about Marvin Jones coming back. We'll talk a little bit about the interviews that were done by Dan Campbell. He was on a podcast, not ours. I mean, I'm not sure why he hasn't been on ours yet. We're like the hottest name in sports right now.
I'm sure he'll be.
It's like Pat McAfee, Stephen Will. We're in that order.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're coming for you, Pat. Yeah. Check your rearview mirror. Objects are closer than they appear. Dan was asked about Jalen Carter. He interviewed a teammate of Jalen's and said that the interview was very interesting.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that?
It's crazy because I feel like everyone is taking this one or two ways. You got the people that are saying he's saying interesting, as it's a completely negative thing. And then you got other people that are saying he's using his poker face and he's using interesting to hold on to the good things that he heard. So I'm kind of on the fence too. I've heard some good things about him. I've heard some negative things about him. But the bottom line is the Lions are going to do their due diligence. They're going to know who his elementary school girlfriend was.
Is he a front-to-back wiper when he sits down?
Exactly.
Which way do we work in that TP?
Yeah, we're going to know everything about him.
So. I got to know these things because if you go from back to front, you're a psychopath. I can't have you on my team.
Back, so.
And after the interview, Dan was asked, were the things you heard that being interesting, was it good interesting or bad? And he just said,
interesting.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that's very interesting. Yeah. Also, I think I won't use the word interesting anymore, but ironic that the Raiders reportedly removed Jalen Carter off of their draft board.
Is that legit though? or are they just
I don't
doing?
know. The Raiders would draft Jeffrey Dahmer if he had some talent. You know?
That's their history. So it makes you think, can you trust what the Raiders are saying, or are they trying to do that to just get you off their scent?
Right. I don't know. The Raiders kind of have a history of drafting those questionable guys. I mean, they just had the Henry Ruggs thing, so maybe they're just thinking, hey, we can't really roll the dice after Henry Ruggs, so
Could be.
let's just get this guy off our draft board, which would be understandable. But yeah, those were some comments made by Dan Campbell in an interview he did on a podcast. I think it was out in Arizona.
Oh.
Also, we did a little research, looked up some guys that were interviewed by the Lions front office. We just kind of handpicked some players that you guys will probably know a little better, either from our show or other shows that you guys are watching that you probably shouldn't be because they're not as good as us.
Facts. Don't cheat on us.
Yeah. Your loyalty will be tested later on. One of the players we interviewed was a guy that you think we should take at number 6, Anthony Richardson.
So I'm on the fence.
2 weeks ago, you weren't on the fence. 2 weeks ago, you had to pick in.
I still think that he is a tremendous talent. And I guess I'm probably in the minority of people that think if we pick him at 6, I'd be happy about it.
I won't be happy.
Yeah, see, I guess I am in the minority, but I also don't feel as strongly as if we don't pick him, we've committed a mortal sin. So if we picked Anthony Richardson, cool. He's a great talent. I could see him getting some time to develop. It would kind of be a great fit. But Jared Goff is still our guy for the next season or two.
Next 5 seasons, 5 to 7 seasons.
Yet to be seen.
5 to 7 seasons for Jared Goff. Lifetime contract for him. I heard it's coming. Yeah, so we interviewed Anthony Richardson, Quentin Johnston, another guy we talked about in our last show, a big-bodied receiver out of TCU, kind of going hand in hand with us just talking about Marvin Jones. I think that would bump Marvin to wide receiver 4, and I don't know where you would put.
But time out. So you're gonna bump Marvin Jones to wide receiver
Absolutely.
4 for a guy that last week weren't you calling him Butterfingers or something like that?
I mean, he's at least got potential. I mean, I'll take Tom Kennedy wide receiver 4 over Marvin Jones. That's my guy.
You're out of line. You're out of line.
Yeah, we'll see who's out of line when I ask you a question here in a little bit. Yeah, we'll see. So we interviewed a couple of receivers, Quentin Johnson being one, Ronnie Bell, Jaden Reed, some local kids, Michigan State.
Yeah, for sure.
We know a lot about Ronnie Bell. Ronnie Brown was a Miami Dolphins running back in like 2007. We don't really need to talk about him, I don't think. Jaden Reed, wide receiver, Michigan State. He's more of a down the field, deep threat guy.
Yeah, he's a dynamic athlete.
Yeah, he can make some plays down the field. Whereas Ronnie Bell's going to work more of that 20 to 25 yard range.
Yep. Possession receiver.
Yeah, so either one of those guys would be a solid fit in Detroit. We both like them. We kind of do different things for you. And then we also interviewed Jaden Reed.
Mm-hmm.
We just said Jaden Reed. Your guy, Trenton Simpson.
Linebacker, another athlete, a guy that can run. We did re-sign Anceloni.
Man.
But next to him, we got Malcolm Rodriguez.
My guy.
And Malcolm, if we're playing the run, Malcolm is the guy.
Right.
He's a pit bull. He's coming downhill screaming, but in that pass coverage.
Yeah, Malcolm is not really much of a pass coverage type linebacker. He's more of a run into a wall kind of guy. Yeah, knock your head off at the line of scrimmage.
So I think getting anybody in this draft who could, it's a passing league now.
Yeah, it is.
So getting anybody who can run with those tight ends, running backs, slot receivers going over the middle and we're in zone.
Yeah.
We need somebody that can run with those guys.
Another linebacker we interviewed, same position, Noah Sewell, Penei Sewell's little brother.
Are we just going to put all brothers on our team?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know. At one point last year, Noah Sewell was a top 10 pick. He's kind of fell off a little bit, kind of fell into that 3rd, 4th round category now.
Yeah, honestly, I could see Sewell going in the top 10 of the 3rd or 4th round.
I thought you were going to say, oh boy, I thought you were going to say top 10 overall.
Yeah, I can see him going in that. Yeah, there's no way. When you watch the film, he don't even jump off at you as like somebody that, man, I gotta have him on my team.
No, he'll be a good depth player. I think it'd be a good fit for him. Get to play with his brother would be cool. I think he'd fit in. He wouldn't cause any headaches. Not a bad signing or draft later in the later rounds.
While we're talking draft, why don't you guys, if you're still with us, drop it in the comment box who you think we should draft as our number 6 overall pick. We're super interested to see where people are leaning with that pick.
And tell us why it's Jackson Smith and Jigba. Yeah. Another player we interviewed was Osiris Torrance, a guard / center from Florida.
Yep.
Where do you think he would fit in at?
I would love to have him. And I think if we draft him, not at 6, but at 18, obviously, but if we were to draft him at 18, I think it instantly, we go from talking about our line as one of the best lines to probably being the best offensive line for the next 5 years.
Where do you think if we drafted Osiris Torrance, he would fall into the depth chart with the Lions?
I think he would be a rotational guy in the beginning, but his youth, we're going to have to pay. Sewell is going to cost a lot of money.
He's going to want some cash.
Ragnow is going to cost a lot of money. Decker.
Jonas Jackson.
Yeah, so we're going to have to start paying people. So having young guys who can play on rookie deals would be huge for us to keep staying elite up front, which is that we know they want to do that.
So who do you think right now is the right guard starter right now? Glasgow
probably will start.
Probably Glasgow. I don't think Vaitai,
we don't even know if he's going to be healthy.
Yeah, I think his best days are behind him. Not to say that Glasgow is like a young pup, but I think he's just a little bit more durable for us. So, I mean, if we drafted Osiris Torrance, that might be a guy who maybe starts. Who knows? We'll have to see what happens. Another guy, same position, that got an interview at either the draft or the combine or his pro day, Steve Avila. Mm-hmm. Same position, guard, center, out of TCU. Probably the same type of situation if he gets drafted. He's going to be a depth guy. So that's just a handful of people who received interviews from the Lions.
Are we just not going to talk about Emmanuel Forbes?
Oh, we can talk Emmanuel Forbes.
The ball hawk of the draft? I mean, yeah, I would. When I saw, because we've been talking about him since I think episode 1 of our podcast.
You have, I haven't. I'm not really that big on him, but I know. Hey,
unbelievable.
Here we are.
Emmanuel Forbes is a ball hawk, and he scores touchdowns like he's a wide receiver. If we draft Emmanuel Forbes, he might have. This might be one of those times where we need to stamp this. This is probably going to be a short.
Can the guy get drafted before we start putting future bets on him?
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
he's going to be in the NFL, and he's going to score a touchdown.
I mean, yeah, he's going to be in the NFL. That's why
he's going to draft, and he's going to score a touchdown next season. You heard it here first. Moving on.
I might take that bet today just to give myself the odds. So those were some guys that were interviewed. We handpicked just a handful of guys. We'll do another show and do some other guys. There are some other names that are more familiar. We just kind of picked the biggest ones that kind of really stuck out to us at the moment. So the other day we talked about the Lions having a window of opportunity. Do you feel that there is hopes for next year to be a contender for the Super Bowl?
So there's a couple of places that I want to take this.
Take it very carefully.
First things first. I hate this term that I keep hearing, window of opportunity. I feel like what Brad Holmes is doing is he's creating a young, talented team that loves to play football. And he's not creating a team that's going to have a window of opportunity. He's creating a team that is going to be successful, right, or has the potential to be successful for a long time. Right? With that being said, and I'm treading lightly because I happened to mention this at work the other day.
I'm waiting for you to say it.
And people were ready to off with my head.
I'm ready. I was one of them.
But I'm gonna say it for everybody to hear. I believe right now in this moment that the Lions are overrated. I said it. I believe that the Lions are overrated. And here's why. All I'm hearing now is we're the Kings of the North.
We are.
If we don't go to the playoffs, then it's absurd. That we're gonna have all these primetime games and we're gonna be doing all of this stuff. We got a high-powered offense, and I'm not arguing or disputing those things should happen, but you cannot crown the king without doing the work first. We got to do it on the field. I've never seen a heavyweight champion be the champion before he won the belt. That's all I'm saying.
here's what I'm gonna say. You said something about making your peace. I hope you made it with God, because I'm about to put your address out so that people can show up to this house. And we're gonna just put Mickey out in the front yard, and we're just gonna whip him like a dog.
Unreal.
I can't believe this guy just a couple weeks ago was talking about the Lions defense being elite, and now we're overrated.
I said the Lions defense was on the cusp.
Oh,
on the cusp of being elite. If we get this draft right, we could finish with an elite defense.
I mean, I'm bald. I don't have any hair, so we can't really split them, but that's what you're doing.
I'm just saying.
Come on, Chief.
Yeah. We had the potential to be elite. We do.
Right. So I let you speak your piece. Now I'm going to say I need the Lions to progress from what they did last year.
Right on.
No one expected us to win 9 games, have a winning record, go into Lambeau, essentially a playoff game. Not for us, but for the Packers to eliminate them. You know, that's a playoff game. We can't go 9-8 and take a step back. You can't go from that and have a losing record. I think we got to get 10, 11 wins. I think that wins you the division. I think that gives you your first ever home playoff game at Ford Field. And that's pretty much where I'm at. I need a home playoff game. I don't need a wild card. It's home playoff game or bust for me.
I think the bottom line between us right now, the difference is you have already purchased your playoff game ticket.
Yeah.
And I have money set aside for my playoff.
It's in my back pocket.
You know what I mean? So I have money set aside for my playoff ticket.
Yeah.
So
that's where I'm at. I mean,
that's the difference.
I'm win the division or bust. It's never been done. Now's the time. Every other team in the division, I feel like, is kind of on the downslope, and we're on the upslope. It's now or never.
I'm with you.
Put a stranglehold on the division for the next X amount of years.
We should be doing that.
Yeah. So let us know your guys' thoughts. Who's right? Most likely me. I think everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid, and then there's negative Nancy William over here who thinks that the Lions are going to only win 3 games.
If you're with me, put overrated in the chat. Not that we're not gonna get it done, but win the title first.
Yeah.
Win the title first. That's all I'm saying.
Also, I will be posting something looking for a new co-host on this show who has more reasonable aspirations. So we covered the Lions. There really hasn't been a whole lot going on. It is draft month.
I got my draft hat. My yearly draft hat.
3 weeks until the draft. You know, Lions Super Bowl. That's what it's been known as the last 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Not this year, though. This is what gets us to the Super Bowl.
Right on.
So we're going to do some questions from some of our followers from Facebook. Paul Crick asked this to you.
Okay.
He wants to know, was Jameson Williams sat out because of injury last year or the knowledge of the playbook?
That's a good question. So, obviously, these are our opinions, and we do read anything that we can find and watch anything we can find on the Lions and just Michigan sports in general. But it's my belief that they set him out last year to nurse that injury. Why take the risk of potentially re-injuring himself when we can make sure that he was coming back this season 100% full throttle, training wheels off, and just not even thinking about, whether that knee was good or not. So now they say that those injuries, they can take up to 2 years not to be healed.
Not for Adrian Peterson.
Right, but not to be healed, but to have 100% confidence in how your knee's feeling and, the inflammation and swelling that comes along with it still, healing up properly.
Right. So if you're just a casual fan, you don't know a whole lot about Jameson Williams. He tore his ACL in the national championship game against Georgia the year before he was drafted. That was in January. I think he played his first game it was after Thanksgiving, so it would have been like early December.
Mm-hmm.
So being a season ticket holder, that's who I was looking for. Once they said he was playing or he was active, I'm out there. I'm looking for number 9.
Yeah.
Not Matt Stafford. He's dead to me. I'm looking for Jameson Williams. Yeah. Hey, you go to the other team, you're dead to me. You're not a Lion no more. That's how it goes.
Going in the Hall of Fame as a Lion.
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We'll make our peace then.
Mm-hmm.
So what I noticed with Jameson Williams was they never gave him consecutive plays. He would come in for one play, come out. One play, come out. And I know that they're just, they're not wanting to overwork him.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of like we were in a weird position in the standings where we didn't really want to go balls to the wall with them. They did the right thing. So I think this year he's going to be a full go. I think he makes our offense super, super scary. He touches the ball, it could be a home run. You never know.
Going along with that, I got a question for you. Following along with Crick's question. Who does Jameson Williams remind you of? Just, we may have talked about this off air, so I want the world to know.
I'm not going to change my answer. So I just talked about how we were going to nail Mickey to a cross in his own front yard. But if you guys want to bring 2 crosses, one for me, we can do that. I'll make our peace. But he reminds me, and I'm going to say this very carefully. So before you unsubscribe, just hear me out. He reminds me of Randy Moss in a physical standpoint.
So we're talking about the guy that came up to the line of scrimmage and said, "Hey, Dante, I don't care what's going on. Just throw me the football."
I'm hoping we get there. I'm really hoping we do. I think we could. Do you think we could?
J-Mo, I'm not rooting against you, but Randy Moss is the GOAT.
Calvin Johnson might have something to say about that. Jerry Rice. But anyways, I think when you just put them side by side, just their frame, their physique, tall, lengthy receivers, not overly muscular like Terrell Owens, they're just built the same. Jameson Williams doesn't have a track record that's established yet for a more accurate comparison. I'm just going off of purely looks. That's all I'm going off of. So he can't high point the ball like Randy Moss. Don't get me mistaken on that. If I need a fade route from the 15, 20-yard line,
you're going to throw it to Marvin Jones.
Next question. Who does he remind you of?
So for me, he reminds me more of a style of like a guy like Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, a guy with crazy. And the crazy part about it is, and Tyreek, when you watch this, maybe we'll tag him. I think J-Mo's faster than you, so he could be even a faster, bigger version of a Jalen Waddle and a Tyreek Hill.
Well, people are going to run out of crosses to put us on here.
You can throw him
better catcher than Randy Moss, faster than Tyreek Hill. Walks on water.
Yeah, right. You'll be able to throw J-Mo a screen pass and he can take it to the house, or you can throw him a slant over the middle, he can take it over the house, or he can run a go route and run by you and take it to the house. Right. So I think he's going to be special this year.
Kind of like Randy Moss used to do. So there you go, Paul. We answered a question for you. We appreciate your fandom.
Probably ended our show, though.
Yeah. You probably were watching us live and just shut it off at that point.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. What other questions we got? You got anything?
I got Jeff Vergoven. Jeff Vergoven wants to know, what will it take for the Pistons to be competitive again? And do we think that the issues are coaching issues or talent issues?
What will it take for the Pistons to be competitive again? Nothing short of a bus crash and the whole team just hitting the reset button.
What is the matter?
No, in all honesty, there's not a talent gap on this team. You've drafted in the top 5, 6 the last 5 years. You have guys like Cade Cunningham, who's hurt. We get it this season. But then you drafted Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duran. You traded for James Wiseman, a former number 2 pick overall from Golden State, who's played well in Detroit. And we kind of covered that on our last show that I did with my buddy Russ. There's no talent gap. I think if we're going to reset this team, it has to be from a coaching standpoint. Because I just named 4 guys who are young, physical aspects, and we're going to get another one this summer. We're guaranteed a top 3 pick. So, I mean, the talent's going to get better.
Shoot, if we get Victor, what do you think? If we get Victor from France, this 7'4", 7'5" guy that can shoot and play in the post.
My only problem with Victor is it's really windy in Detroit in the winter, and I hope he doesn't go outside too much because he's
going to blow away.
Yeah, he's only 110 pounds. You put a loose hoodie on that guy, he's gone. See ya. So our talent's going to get better. I think we just got to reset the coaching, try from there, play some better defense because this team's giving up it seems like 130 points a night. Not acceptable. And here I am wearing a bad boy shirt. We got to get back to that type of basketball.
I would love to see that.
A little bit more physical. So that's what I think the Pistons need to do. Just reset the coach, work on the talent, add a veteran or two, a guy who's won before, maybe a guy who's won in the finals, but someone with some experience. I think that would go a long way.
Maybe Cade playing.
Yeah, and Cade coming back next year will really help us a lot as well. So it's kind of a wash.
I got another question from Crick. Crick wants to know, how about Scott Harris being active in free agency? Thoughts on the MLB changes? He's talking the pitch clock, larger bases, and the shifts.
So Scott Harris, he's the Tigers' new GM. He doesn't really have a track record since he's never been an official GM before. He's just kind of been an assistant. So it's hard to say what he's going to do in free agency next year. Um, Maybe he spent some money. I know we got Miguel Cabrera's contract coming off the books. Not to say that that matters because in baseball there's no salary cap.
Right.
So I mean, you could go out and pay a guy. You can offer Shohei Ohtani $60 million next year. If he wants to come to Detroit for $60 million, he can do it. You can pay a guy whatever you want. So we just have to wait and see. I think the next 2 or 3 years, Scott Harris kind of gets a pass because he's dealing with the corpse of what Al Avila has put on our baseball field. Not really his fault. He's just kind of handcuffed. We don't really have any big bats in our lineup. We don't have a ace pitcher. It's just going to be a rough couple of years, I feel like.
Right.
Casey Mize being hurt. We got to give him some time. That's all I can say. We don't really have a track record to judge Scott Harris off of just yet. But when it comes to the rules, I tell you, I was pretty skeptical of the pitch clock in the beginning, but I'm actually quite a big fan of that. It speeds the game up a lot. I don't have to sit and spend 5 hours watching the Tigers get their butts whooped anymore. So I like the pitch clock. The larger bases, in my opinion, I don't really have a judgment on if that's good or bad. I guess it'll help like in stealing or if there's close plays at a base, but not really sure how I feel about that quite yet.
Right.
No shift. I'm torn. I'm 50-50 on the no shift. I feel like if you're a big league hitter and you're hitting into a shift and you can't hit the ball the other way where there's not a player, what are you doing in the big leagues? You know, if I got 3 guys on the right side of second base and only one over here, where are you going to try to hit? You're going to try to hit to where the one guy is. So I don't really understand that. I'm not a huge fan of that.
All right. Fair enough. What about Michigan spring game?
Did you watch it? Did you watch the spring game?
So being honest, we talked about it a little bit before. The spring game is pretty much a highlighted public practice. You know.
Yeah, it's like a simulated game. It's all staged. You're not gonna run like your trick plays. It's all gonna be base, halfback dive, halfback sweep. You're not really gonna see a whole lot.
I just watched the highlights from it, being honest, being transparent about it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the spring game, being a Michigan fan. I watched it the next day when I don't have to deal with commercials. There were some players who stuck out. I think the guy who really caught my eye was Benji Hall.
Same.
Running back out of Texas, played really well.
Mike Hart talks really highly about him, too.
I can see him kind of slipping into that RB3 role behind Corum and Edwards, maybe getting some carries late in games when we're blowing teams like Ohio State out by 30 points again because we own them now.
But did we ever get our flag back, or is that
it's in the museum now? I don't know if it's at Schembechler Hall. I don't know if you saw that. They dipped it in bronze and stuck it in there. The O'Leary kid, I don't know his first name. The receiver, he looked pretty good. There's some guys on defense, but like I said, it's hard to judge because it's all simulated in a way. Like JJ's not playing, your 2 running backs aren't playing, you're running base plays. It's not real football.
Right. Agreed.
That's what we got. If you guys got any questions, start shooting them off here in the Facebook, YouTube, whatever you're on watching us right now. Shoot us some questions while Mickey is going to explain a giveaway that we're going to be doing.
All right. So coming up, guys, if you don't know, then the Lions have 5 of the first 100 picks of this year's NFL draft, right? And this is where we're going to change this defense from pretty good, which we've gotten over free agency, to elite, hopefully. But we're going to do a draft challenge. So with the Lions having those first picks in the first 100, or first 5 picks in the first 100 selected, we're going to have a challenge where people pick 5 guys that they think the Lions will pick with those first 5 picks of the first 100. All right, so here's how it's going to work. After this airs, we're going to go to our Facebook group, Detroit Den 313. We're going to post a link from the CBS Sports top 350 guys. That way, even if you don't know anything about football, you can go there, you can click the link, and it'll give you a list of guys. And you can freaking just say, hey, I want to pick all guys that are projected in the first round, or I want to pick guys who I just like their names. Take 5 guys. You'll list those guys in a comment box below the CBS Sports link. All right, so that way it's easy for us to go there and verify who's in it. List your 5 guys. when we see the post, either Steve or I will go in there and click or reply verified under it. That way you know that you're in the competition. What you got?
How many times can I enter in this contest, William?
You can only enter into the contest one time. So once we verify you, it's a wrap. What you got?
So I can only enter once. What if there's a tie?
So if there's a tie, we're not gonna do it like we did the last challenge where we put the names in the hat.
So it's old school, baby.
Yeah, that ancient,
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Swish them around. We're not gonna do that. So we're gonna do the online wheel randomizer, name randomizer. So if there's a tie, we'll enter the names of the tied people in the randomizer. We will share the screen live like we're doing a live right now, and we'll do the randomizer and we'll let the technology pick whoever the winner is.
Technology doesn't always work. The old school way does work. It's foolproof.
So if there's some type of glitch going on online, then I guess we'll go back to Steve's old school way.
Could happen, man. Watch the Terminator. Shit happens all the time with technology. I have another question. What does the winner win?
So we are actually going to let you guys decide what the prize is to an extent, right? So Steve has actually donated all of his season tickets, and he's just going to let you pick one game. I would suggest Thanksgiving, but you just pick one game, and Steve's going to let you do that.
That is false. That's not going to be the giveaway. We are going to either do a Fanatics gift card again. We can do a gift card to Hooters, Twin Peaks, Buffalo Wild Wings. Question, answer.
How much is that gift card going to be?
It's going to be for $50.
Okay, so make sure.
We're going to put a poll up on TikTok. If you watch the bottom of the screen there, it's going to show you how to find our TikTok page. There it is, Detroit Den 313. We're going to put a poll on there, and we'll give it a week, 2 weeks, whatever the winning result is. That's what we'll get a gift card to, and we'll select the winner after the draft.
Sounds good.
That's it. So, some questions here. I'm going to let you answer this one from Miss Jacqueline Weinman. Do we have the ability to keep some younger players at less cost, build a solid framework, and then bring in some bigger players in the next 5 years?
Jackie, that's a great question. I
think that's Jeff. I think that's actually Jeff behind that question.
I don't believe that at all. I think Jackie probably knows more about football than Jeff.
Based on his fantasy football standings, that's probably true.
All right. So, yeah, I think absolutely we can do that. And I think that's what Brad Holmes seems like he's trying to do. And what we kind of talked about last week, what I'm noticing is people want to come to Detroit right now.
Yeah.
So, and even guys like Vaitai, to stay in Detroit, he restructured his deal. So, and took less. Was it Romeo Okora? He did the same thing, even though he was injured and he probably didn't deserve to have the big contract that he had. Not available, but he probably would have got cut otherwise. But you got guys we're changing the culture in a way to where guys are now coming in and they want to come to Detroit. So Micah Parsons, if you ever see this, I'm not gonna say bad words. I'm not gonna say bad words, but Mickey, we don't like you.
Off
we don't
camera,
like
he
you.
said it's on site if he ever sees you.
He could get these hands. He could get the hands.
We'll be honest.
But yeah, Jackie, I think that we definitely could do that.
I'll hold him down for it, but I don't know if he win that fight. Yeah, so that's it for questions. It looks like you guys aren't really flooding us. Kind of disappointed in what we're getting here, but thank you, Jackie, for the question.
Andy Fetcher, I'll throw it out for you.
Golference.
Yeah,
I'm a believer in the golference.
Yeah, I think that hopefully this golfence is popping this year.
Golfence is going to win the golf rinse. Mark it here first.
I like that.
So we talked about every Detroit team so far except for the Red Wings. So just real quick, not going to go into depth on this. I thought it was pretty cool the other night. We had, I think it was 4 out of 5 of Steve Yzerman's first round picks on the ice together. We had a bunch of young kids. We had Sider, Raymond, Edvinson, and Marco Casper. Kid's only 18, man. I showed you the clip. They were playing Toronto. He got into a little scuffle. It was cool. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So the future of the Red Wings is coming, I think. It's getting close. I think next year, the only first round pick that hasn't made it to the NHL that I believe is Sebastian Cossa, who's playing with the Walleye right now. So maybe he makes it to Grand Rapids next year, and maybe he'll get a little playing time with the Wings. He's playing really well in Toledo. So that was pretty cool to see. The future of the Red Wings is coming. That's pretty much it, guys.
But my only question is this. So after the games and when all the older guys, the actual grown-ups are going to the bar or hanging out, What does he do? Does he go
He's
home?
drinking Lions Kool-Aid, baby. That's what he's doing.
He's not even old enough to sit down at the bar. Like, what are we doing?
No. I think that's it for the show, guys. Appreciate the questions. This is how we're going to be doing them from now on. It's a lot easier. If you kind of came in the middle and you want to see what we talked about in the front, the video should be on YouTube. I don't know when. I can't say times anymore because I just don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and say that the video should be on YouTube in the next half hour.
It should be on YouTube no later than draft day, I would say.
Hopefully the next half hour. But when you go to YouTube to check out our video, if you don't follow, you'll be also to be able to see it in the group, Detroit Den 313 Facebook group. But if you go to YouTube to watch it, remember, you got to go to our live video. So we'll have a video section for pre-recorded videos, and there'll also be a live section. So this video in about 30 minutes or so will be located in the live section.
Probably more than 30 minutes from what we experienced yesterday. That's it, guys. One last thing. Don't let the Mormons have more wives than we do subscribers.
Help us out.
Help us out.
Click the button.
We're at war with the Mormons. That's it, guys.
All right, later.